For years, conservative Christians have called Donald Trump, God's chosen one, a modern-day Cyrus sent to restore Christian values to America. They've built a movement around him, waving flags that say, Jesus is my savior, Trump is my president. But here's the problem. If you claim someone is chosen by God, their actions must reflect the teachings of Christ. And Trump's don't. Just this week, when asked whether he'd consider granting a presidential pardon to Ghislaine Maxwell, Trump said, I'd have to take a look at it.
I heard term today, Mr. President, and the Supreme Court is back in session. Yeah. They rejected today an appeal by Ghislaine Maxwell to overturn her conviction. That means her only chance at getting out of prison is a pardon from you. Is that something you're open to?
Who are we talking about?
Ghislaine Maxwell.
I haven't heard the name in so long. I can say this, that I'd have to take a look at it. I would have to take a look. Did they reject that?
She wanted to appeal her conviction.
And what happened?
They said that they were not going to hear her appeal.
I see. Well, I'll take a look at it. I will speak to the DOJ. I wouldn't consider it or not consider it. I don't know anything about it. So, but I'll speak. I will speak to the DOJ.
Why would she be a candidate for clemency, sir?
I don't know. I mean, I'd have to speak to the DOJ. I'll look at it. I have a lot of people have asked me for pardons. I call him Puff Daddy has asked me for a pardon.
But she was convicted of child sex trafficking.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to have to take a look at it. I'd have to ask DOJ. I didn't know they rejected it. I didn't know she was even asking for it, frankly.
The so-called chosen one of God, the supposed protector of children, looked straight into the camera when asked about pardoning a convicted child trafficker and said he'd take a look. A righteous man doesn't need to take a look at child trafficking. A decent man doesn't need to consult the DOJ before rejecting evil. Trump had the chance to stand with the victims. Instead, he shrugged and said he'd ask around. And remember, this isn't someone unfamiliar with Ghislaine Maxwell. He knew her. He partied with her. He knew Epstein. He literally once said, I've known Jeff for 15 years. He likes beautiful women as much as I do, many on the younger side. He knew exactly who she was. He even wished her well during her criminal trial. But when asked about pardoning a convicted child sex trafficker, suddenly he needs to look into it. Suddenly he needs to speak to the DOJ. A reporter had to remind him twice that Maxwell was convicted of child sex trafficking. His response? Yeah, I'm going to have to take a look at it. He could just say child sex traffickers deserve to rot in prison. Instead, he will look at it. Trump and his followers have spent years pretending to be moral warriors for children. They built their entire brand on fake outrage. They claim to be defending kids from drag queens, from trans youth, and from teachers reading books about acceptance. They spread a lie that schools are secretly performing gender surgeries on children without parental consent. No school in America performs gender surgeries. No teacher is sneaking kids into hospitals. It's a moral panic and a hoax designed to keep conservative Christians angry and afraid. And yet, when their anointed one, their Christian warrior, was asked if he'd pardon a woman convicted of actual child trafficking, what did they do? Nothing. No outrage. No press conferences. No prayer vigils. No sermons. The same people who scream about trans kids are silent about a billionaire sex trafficker. Because their outrage was never about protecting children, it was about controlling culture. It was about power, not purity. And this silence reveals it all. When evil wears a MAGA hat or donates to the right campaign, the Christian outrage machine suddenly turns off. Meanwhile, the victims, the real children who were trafficked, manipulated, and destroyed, are forgotten because their abusers were rich and powerful. Jesus said it would be better for a man to have a millstone tied around his neck and be thrown into the sea than to harm one of these little ones. But Trump looks at someone who did exactly that and says, I'll take a look. And the church, the self-proclaimed army of moral purity, just shrugs. This is what moral collapse looks like. Not in Hollywood, not in the universities, but in the American church. These same pastors said God chose Trump. They said to question him was rebellion against God. But Jesus said, by their fruits you will know them. And what are the fruits of Trump's so-called Christian nationalism? Hatred, hypocrisy, silence in the face of child abuse. Trump's administration refused to release the Epstein files. He protected the powerful, mocked the children abused, and turned cruelty into a brand. And conservative Christians called it God's plan. Let's make something clear. Jesus would have nothing to do with this kind of power. He didn't dine with kings to bless their palaces. He flipped tables in the temple because the powerful turned faith into profit. Jesus said, "Whatever you do to the least of these, you do to me." Trump does the opposite. He protects those who exploit the least of these, the children, the vulnerable, and the voiceless. And the church's silence in the face of this evil is not neutrality, it's complicity. If your faith excuses a man who would pardon a child trafficker, but condemns a teacher for respecting a student's pronouns, your faith is broken. If you cry out against imaginary surgeries, but ignore real abuse, your morality is counterfeit. And if you still call Trump chosen by God, you've confused the gospel of Christ with the gospel of empire.